Welcome to Office Hours, the real life of ADs. We're on location at Jordan Girl Hot Dogs. That's how I say it, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're downtown Columbus with a special guest, a special menu.
I just caught that. Jordan girls, not Jordan. That's a good job.
I'm not the one who struggles to talk on the show.
Well, it's only Jordan for the high school.
Right. People don't know that.
Everything else is Jordan the way it's supposed to be said.
No, that's supposed to be
The way
found.
it's supposed to be said.
But we're here on location. But before we get to our special guest, I want to give a shout out to our wonderful hosts for hosting us, being on location at Jordan Girls. Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Natalie Jordan. I'm
Come on over
Natalie
here. Don't be
Jordan.
scared.
Hi, how's everybody doing? We're located.
My classmate.
Oh yeah, me and Anson graduated
98.
together. Kendrick, best to ever do it. Y'all gotta see our graduation video. You'll understand.
For sure.
They have videos then?
Don't do it.
VHS.
We ain't that old.
Don't
Yeah,
do it.
we can still play it.
VHS tape.
Yeah, it is.
You
on
gotta find
VHS.
somewhere to play VHS.
Oh, my mama got everything. But listen.
So now, how long have you been at this spot?
We've been here 10 years. We opened May 1st, 2013, and when we opened up to ensure that everybody could eat. So we have a variety of options to choose from. We have vegan hot dogs, we have pork hot dogs, we have beef hot dogs, we have turkey hot dogs. We also have wheat buns. So we try to cater to everybody. So that has, if you have an allergy, you can come in here and you can find something to eat. So it's a place where anybody can come and have something to eat. If it's something that we don't have, we tell you to give us 24 hours and we can create it for you. Now, he's showing you this vegan banana pudding that we have. That's
Delicious.
amazing. We have
It is
vegan
really
banana
good.
pudding every Wednesday and Fridays for Soul Food Fridays. So stop in and come see us Monday through Friday from 11 to 4.
What time on Saturday?
Monday through Saturday, I'm sorry, 11 to 4. And we're closed every Sunday, except for these wonderful people, for them to do their podcast.
So when the banks close, you're closed.
Yeah, when the bank's closed, we close. If you look on the door,
I know,
that's
that's
our
outside.
slogan. For holidays, when the bank's closed, we close. Yeah,
No,
so,
that's right.
They ain't making money, we ain't making money.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so if anybody ever wants to, like, come on Thanksgiving, we have Thanksgiving here. Thanksgiving is the only holiday we're here, and we do ask for people to come down and volunteer because we do serve the community on Thanksgiving. We come down here on Thanksgiving. We serve free meals. So we have turkey, ham, dressing,
And they have
green
vegan
beans.
chitlins.
Yeah, we do have vegan chitlins.
Vegan
on Thanksgiving.
oxtails.
Vegan
Vegan
oxtails, yeah. So check out our page at Jordan Girls Vegan Dreams. We're on Facebook or Instagram, and it'll show you our complete menu. And so our vegan customers know, like, they can call in, like, we serve a burger on Wednesday, but if they want maybe spaghetti or something, they'll call us that Tuesday and we'll have it ready for them on that Wednesday. So we do short order cook also and cater for the vegans or regular customers also, but we mostly cater for vegans. So you can get your wedding catered or a baby shower or anything.
The food was good.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank
hosting
you.
us.
You are welcome. Anytime.
We'll be back.
We'll be
I'm
back.
sure.
Chilling Friday.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
y'all communicate the location
We're not
ahead of
We're
time.
past that.
Thank you.
Past that.
So
So,
we had a few
just,
athletic directors that
just
were
to let
late
it be
today.
known,
We were
Keg and
technically we were not
Danielle
late though.
was with our guest at the wrong place.
It wasn't wrong.
And Keg didn't relay the message to our awesome guest that we have on the show that we're going to be here instead of at Spencer.
Because
And
I
that's
wasn't
not
told.
like,
Did you check? I checked the
Yes,
text.
I wasn't told.
I didn't see anything.
But let's move on.
yeah, let's
For
introduce
now.
our guest.
Yeah, so our guest is a mentor, a friend, a colleague, a jack of all trades.
It's a boss.
Yeah, someone who does a lot of stuff that no one even knows about. Coach Ahmad Tinker, or excuse me, Doctor Coach.
Doctor, coach.
I gotta go back to school.
So tell our listeners about yourself a little bit, Tinker.
Well, don't go to all the titles. Coach Tinker just fine. I've been in the business for about 27 years now. Had the opportunity to coach for a long time, also a long time administrator. I am a person that believes in each one, reach one, teach one, uplift one. So I am passionate about helping others learn, grow, and improve in the game of sports, athletics, and also life. I'm just here to be a servant and to be able to help others again learn and grow and to be able to figure out what they want to do in life.
He sounds so professional, you know? I remember going to coach with this guy, and he told me, and I'm gonna use the G-rated version of this, he told me, I said, you know, I'd like to coach on your staff. What college you went to? I said, I played football at Morris Brown.
So he said, no accreditation, you can't come.
No.
Got real personal.
And I'm okay with the accreditation joke right now. But this man told me, oh, shoot. When I shoot, we work harder than Morris Brown. I tell you what, you work the summer, and I'll let you know at the end of the summer if I want you. So my interview was 3 months long. It was a trial. But I tell you what, we became friends, and I asked him at the end. That's why I said, "So am I good? You know, I'm good to coach." And he told me to get out his face, and we've been buddies ever since. Great coach, great mentor, definitely.
Hey, it's simple to me. Do you have evidence of that right now? No evidence, and guess what? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. No social media back then.
Social media. Nobody filmed it. Nobody
Right.
had nothing to do. Unbelievable. Okay.
So Coach Tinker, we got you here to talk a little bit about some of everything, but we'll start with some questions that we've had in the past. Let's talk about a little bit the difference in high school recruiting now versus maybe 5, 10 years ago.
Well, I think the biggest thing is social media. Social media has completely changed the just the whole aspect of recruiting. Because again, years ago there was no social media in place. So now social media is it's the all be all. A lot of people want to talk about from a high school standpoint. Oh, the transfer portal. Transfer portal is what it is. It's going to be there. It's going to exist. That's not the biggest problem right now in the recruiting. The biggest problem is the COVID year. Because of the COVID year, so many kids still have those years in place. It's negative impacting high school recruiting. But I always tell kids, parents, and tell coaches, if you don't have that great social media team in place, and I say team, and I truly say team because that is the initial process of what starts everything in recruiting is social media. Because now coaches, college coaches are lazy. They don't recruit like they used to recruit men and get out. They do everything on social media. They constantly contact the kids before they even contact the coach. So you got to make sure that you have a social media team from a high school standpoint, from a parent standpoint, student standpoint. I think one of the biggest problems now with high schools is that they don't have a social media team. You may have a coach, you may have an AD that's trying to do it. The good high schools employ students to do it. They have students that control their social media. They have students, they empower their students to take pictures. They empower them to take video. They sell their brand, which in turn helps their high school athlete. And I think that's the power high school. That's what they do versus the high school to say, hey, yeah, we're doing it, but you're really not doing it because, again, one person can't do it, 2 people can't do it. It is a team effort when you look at the recruiting standpoint of trying to market your kids for, first and foremost, academics, opportunity academics, secondly, athletic. Because, again, when we start getting in some places, if you don't get your kids out of their current situation, their life's never going to change.
So what would you say are some do's and don'ts when it comes to getting recruited through social media?
Well, I think the big thing is that, again, you gotta know what level that you are. Whether it's the coaches, the parents, it's the player. A lot of times people think that they're better than what they are, and that goes to expectations. You got to have realistic expectations versus unrealistic expectations. So again, if you're a kid that you're gonna play at the Morris Brown or the Fort Valley, you got to make sure. I apologize, but I'm over out state man. But again, you got to make sure that you can't be that level player, meaning Division II player, but then you're reaching out to Georgia, you're reaching out to Alabama because you're just wasting time. You're spinning your wheel, and a lot of times, so many people they waste time on doing that, and those schools are not interested And I truly believe recruiting is like the dating game. You can't chase somebody who don't want you when you got somebody who wants you. So you spend all your time over here, and then eventually the one that does like you, they're gone because they found somebody else.
You gotta love the ones that love you.
Right. So it's just, so I think that's the biggest point from a recruiting standpoint. And it's just not kids or parents. It's coaches. Now, a lot of high school coaches, they think, hey, if I get this kid signed at Georgia, Alabama, it's gonna make my program look better. No, it's not, because you put all your emphasis on that one kid, but you got another 10 kids over here.
They can get something.
Correct. Now, do you want to sign 10 kids, sign one kid?
Right.
So, what's gonna make your program look better? What's gonna be attractive to the community for your program? 10 kids over this one kid signing this Division I scholarship, because those kids don't need help over there.
You said something a few minutes ago. I'm happy it was clarified in your explanation. You said team, but I also think when you talk about the team, not only the school personnel affects it, parents also.
Mm-hmm.
The parent has to be in line with what the student athlete can do and pursue. So, how is it when a parent crosses the line through social media and hyping up their kid or not to that college coach?
Well, I think that remember, recruiters are recruiters. It's their job to figure out what that kid can and that kid cannot do. I always tell people this: when you look at the recruiting process, there's simple one number, 100%. The coach, to me, the coach has 33%. The parent has 33%. The kid has 34%. That equals your 100%. It's the parent job to be a part of the process and help market their kid. What parents are gonna say, little Johnny or little Sally ain't the best thing since sliced bread? They're gonna do that. They're gonna cross that line. They're gonna say that kid is this and that. But again, it's the college coach job to figure out, by going through all of the necessary checks and balances, to make sure does what that parent, does what that coach match up. Because again, remember, college coaches have a job. Their job is tied to wins and losses, their livelihood. They don't win, they get fired. They don't feed their families. So from a high school coach standpoint, you're supposed to, in my opinion, you're supposed to do what you gotta do to market your kid. Am I gonna say a lot? No, I'm not gonna say a lot, but you should say positive things about your kid. Now, there gonna be some relationship things that you're gonna have with some coach, you're gonna just flat out tell the truth. But you don't know what that kid is gonna be in 3 to 4 years. So I always tell, I've seen kids who I thought they were awful high school players. I could think of a kid right now that's from Columbia, Georgia. I wouldn't pick him for my elite all-star game. Cause I thought the kid was gonna be an FCS kid. The kid ended up going on being ACC. Kid with 2-time all ACC in the NFL right now. I called the kid and apologized to the kid. I said, man, I got it wrong.
Right.
All right, so again, we don't know because again, my opinion means something to really me. It may not mean anything to anybody else, because again, the decision makers, the college coach, they're the one who's gonna decide whether what that parent said, what that coach said, what that kid said. They're the one who's gonna decide, do I wanna take this and in turn give the kid opportunity. Now, again, if the kid don't get it done, that's why they got a transfer portal. And the transfer portal is optional and non-optional. Okay? It works both ways.
You can get in and be hard to get out.
Right.
What would you say to let's put your evaluator hat on. Let's put your college recruiting hat on. What about when, and I'm sticking to parents because we have some issues in Columbus, and I know you've been a part of it, where the parents talk negative about the coaches. So what would you say to parents in helping promote their kids? We understand what level they can play at or this or that, but what about when the kid gets scalded on the sideline or the basketball game when you get to technical foul?
So you talking about when you go off on the kid on the sideline during the game?
Correct. So what?
You do that quite.
And
As do you, Coach.
no, I constructively.
Not less than me. I'm snatching souls.
When you snatching souls, you talking about coaches?
Players and parents. I don't discriminate.
Right. So how do you curtail the parents' ability to help the kid as a recruiter? You're looking at social media. The kid is good. We like the kid, but this parent might be a little questionable at our level, be it D1, D2, D3, JUCO, whatever, because they're all, like you said, they're all out there to do a job, to feed their families.
Mm-hmm.
So what information could you share about, or share to parents that won't hinder or hurt their child's ability to play at that level, get that opportunity to get an offer?
Again, I think, I just talked about the dating process. It goes back to this. Kid can be great, your significant other can be great, but if your mother-in-law or your father-in-law is an issue, do I want to deal with this for the rest of my life?
Right.
Okay, so in a nutshell, parents can sabotage kids. Well, that kid can be the best thing since sliced bread, but as a college coach, when I got a lot of high demands, do I want to deal with that needy parent constantly calling my phone, constantly putting things on social media? The answer is no. So college coaches will pass on kids because that. As high school coaches, we can't.
We can't.
Right.
We can't because that kid is on to go to us. We got to deal with the nonsense for 3 to 4 years. We got to deal with a college coach don't have to deal with it.
Right.
They don't have to take the kid. They can just move on. So parent, you can sabotage your kid by putting out negative energy and putting out negative things on social media. Because again, I know me when I'm interviewing people, and remember, the recruiting process is an interview process 100%, and you're going to interview the kid and the parent. When I interview people, the first thing I do is, before I interview, I go to social media. I go look at all social media. After I go look at all social media before I offer the job, because I want to see what's being put out there. Because again, once I hire that person, same thing as a recruiting process. Once you hire that kid, because it is a job. It's not the recruiting process is the dating part of it. But once I say yes and you sign, do I want to deal with you for a year without your name? Same thing on the job process as being an educator, because it's called the tenure process.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give coaches for dealing with those problematic parents?
College or high school?
High school. Since we don't really have a choice, per se, when it comes to the parents, what advice could you give us with dealing with them?
In 2023.
Yeah.
Well, I still think from
Now when you said it's you, the son, the daughter, all y'all get y'all.
well, times have changed. I came to Columbus in 2023 because it was my way or the highway, and if you didn't want to do it, you were gonna move on. But I still think some of those processes in play. I think you got to be realistic. You got to be real with your parent meeting. You got to have that parent meeting. You got to have those grade level meetings. You got to establish this is how we're gonna do it here. And we all know that kids are transfer. They'll transfer on you, and you got to be. And if they do transfer, you got to be fine with that, because again, if you put 1 or 2 kids over your program, you're gonna lose your program. Often, I don't care what year's in, you'll lose your program because of parents, the other parents running the program. You'll lose your program, and again, it goes back to. What good is it to gain the world and lose your soul in the process? I'm not gonna lose my soul in the process for 1 or 2 parents. That kid may help me get a win, but again, I gotta be married to that. I gotta be married to that nonsense, which is gonna cause headaches on my job. If I'm going home thinking about it, it's gonna cause headaches in my personal life. It's not worth it in today's society, because again, so be realistic, be honest with these parents. And you sit down and you have these real conversations with these parents, because I always tell people I'm a person, and Dr. Ed Barnwell told me this, and I go this the day I die. I thrive on confrontation.
Yes.
I'm not scared of confrontation.
That's true.
I'm gonna tell you what I don't like about you, and if you're gonna respect it, you're not gonna respect it. If you don't respect it, then get what? We're gonna agree to disagree. You move on.
And
I
it's
move
out
on.
there. It's out there in the
Right.
open.
Correct.
You said it. That's right.
Mhm. So
No hidden agendas.
nope, zero.
I mean, I think some of the biggest issues is, and it's something I got from Coach Tinker too, whether it's good, bad, or different, you got to be honest with it. And I tell all my parents, I can't say you can go to Georgia, Alabama, but I can tell you, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure you can go somewhere. And I've been fortunate with Coach Tinker's help to get a lot of kids in some different places, because it's like he 2 phone calls away from every coach in the nation.
Right.
Some places I ain't never heard of, but I mean, we've been fortunate to get some kids in a lot of different places, and You know, some of them thrive, and I also tell my kids, you know, you're the biggest recruiter for our program.
Yeah.
If you go to XYZ school and you do what you're supposed to do, then they're more likely to come back as opposed
Right.
to you going back being a turd, then they're not gonna want to recruit any of these kids. They're gonna think everybody falls in
Right.
the same category.
And this ain't just for Coach Tinker. Like, what about those parents that just no matter what they not
Never
not
happened.
hearing that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, hey, he got a scholarship offer to
Morris Brown.
Morris Brown. We'll use Morris Brown. I went there. But
Hey man, Morris Brown got the biggest freshman enrollment coming in the last 20-something years.
Yeah.
Huge.
I saw
I
that.
mean,
I saw
since
that.
they-
no.
Okay.
No more explaining.
Okay. So go ahead, sir.
And they think that their child is just better than that. And you give them everything that you can give them, and they still not happy. And you get that bashing in this community, which is a killer. Like, what do you do?
I think, I don't know if Tink said it earlier, but I was at a clinic and a coach said what he tells parents is, you know the level that your child can play at. And the parent was like, what do you mean? He said, well, who's calling you? This Division II coach. 3 Division II coaches or a JUCO coach, he said. And he said, well, that's the level. If you're not getting the calls from a D1 coach right now, they're not recruiting him. Or her.
But that's what you're supposed to be doing now, getting it where they can. Like, you're not doing your job.
As a coach.
Right.
They're looking at us as if we're
Right.
not doing our
That's
part.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got a chance to go somewhere.
But parents got to understand, and I go back to that 33%. I think one of the biggest problems with Columbus is that Columbus is still stuck in the past. Hey, we had all these great players. People came to this city. We got all these college coaches coming, and it's for all sports, not just football, basketball, whatever. But the Columbus to me is stuck in the past because that little thing in Atlanta called 285. College coaches fly in Atlanta. They don't have to go outside that 285 loop. Nobody wants to come down 85 to 185 anymore because everything is inside the city. And then from a nutshell, I can get off the plane. I can go to places like
You know, 8 schools.
Right. Like most people don't understand that. Like, let's go to Cobb
Right,
County.
that's true.
You got McEachern. 1.1 mile from McEachern is Hillgrove. 1.6 miles is Campbell. These schools are sitting on top of one another. So I don't have to come to Columbus anymore. And it's not the talent that used to be here. So for all sports, so college coaches, it used to be, man, I'm going to Columbus, you're going to find diamond and rough. It's not that way anymore because these metro parents, when I mean metro in Atlanta, they get it, that they got to get their kids on the travel team. They got to go showcase camp. They got people follow their kid with video. They're doing social media. They're doing the thing. They're not saying, hey, coach, you got to do this. That's the problem with Columbus. It's not the coach.
The
It's
parents making that investment.
correct.
in
The
their
parent,
child.
like for example, with me, I got a 15-year-old kid. I spent $15,000 for him to travel 7-on-7 last year. At 14 years old, playing ATNU, I spent $250 a month for him to train. He been hurt since June the 15th. I still had to pay for the month of June. I still had to pay for July. I'm still paying for August because it's a group deal. He's not, but he's hurt. He's gonna be hurt for another 2 to 3 weeks. I still gotta pay it. So
And you'll have that right there will deter parents because they're like, well, I don't understand why I need to pay for it if he's not
Right.
going.
correct. So it's a concept of the parents that get it. They understand that it's an investment on the front end. I'm gonna get my return on the back end. It's no different than playing the stock market. It's no different than playing the lottery every week. What is it? $1.5 billion on
Right now.
Tuesday. Well, guess what? Parents gonna run out and they gonna go spend $200 on trying to win their money, but they won't go spend $200 to take their kid to go get this additional training or to take their kid to this camp right here. They won't do it. But then they want to complain and come back to the coach and say, it's the coach's fault. It's not the coach's fault. Because the coach is dealing with, depending on what program they got, the coach has XYZ kid, not just your kid.
Right.
Right.
You spent $15,000 for 7-on-7 football.
15,000.
He's not on our team.
So this, I mean, well, I'm just making it known to the general public. So 7-on-7, what is that season? What are those months?
7-on-7 for the program my son plays in. We play once a month. but we're Houston. We played in Houston. We played in Dallas. We were in Tampa, Gatlinburg. We played in Atlanta one time. So when I say 15,000, remember we got to fly.
We're traveling.
We got to travel. We got to do hotels. A lot of time, I'm not sleeping the same with my son. He got his own room. We 2 rooms. We got to eat. We got to get a rental car. The plane. Guess what? If we get beat at 9 o'clock on Sunday, we get beat at 11 o'clock, and I'm supposed to fly out at 6 o'clock. I'm not sitting there 5 hours. I'm flipping my flight for extra $100, $50, so we can get on an early flight and get out. So there's a lot of money being spent. So again, you talking about going to Houston, you talking about going to Dallas. It's a lot of money involved in this stuff because again, a mission is me for 2 days going in. That's $35, $40 for me. I got to pay for parking. So it's a lot of money involved that some parents down here, because it's not big down here, they don't understand. They don't understand that it's an investment that in return you looking to get that return in the form of a scholarship 4 years later. And remember, my son is just a sophomore. That's 3 more years. That's
2 more summers. 2 more.
2 more summers.
Yeah.
So that's another 15,000, depending on where we go. If we jump on a plane, we go to LA. That's even more.
Right. And then they just, you talking about 185, I think it's everybody outside of that.
Correct.
South of Georgia.
It's even Noonan now where I live at. It's Noonan. Like a lot of recruits don't have to come down to Noonan because of nobody has to leave that.
And more than likely, the ones who come are based on previous relationships.
Correct.
All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with Coach Tinker and chop it up a little more. We are Office Hours, the real life of what?
ADs.
Of ADs.
What's our Instagram?
You can find us on Instagram at officehours.ad.
Yeah.
God, I know it now.
We're here with our sponsor for this show at Jordan Girls Gourmet Dogs, and we also are being sponsored by 13 Trends.
Ooh, I like these
You
cups.
see our cups, our shirts, anything.
Not my shirt.
Anything that you want your name on or anything like that, she can definitely make it happen. So we'll be back in just a few. Good.
No, you're not.
You good?
Can I get some more sweet tea, please?
Love that tea, boy.
She'll have some poetry.
Thank you.
You welcome. Anybody else want to
Don't they Coke Zero?
I know, right? I had just bought some fresh case. Yeah, I had some fresh drinks since you complained last
Yeah,
time.
but it wasn't that drink last time. You the host.
It was your
I
time
think
to
the
bring
bigger
some.
issue though, like you were just
Okay.
struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I
That
was
day.
Not today though.
We're filming, right?
I'm filming. Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Ready? And we are back with Office Hours, the real life of ADs. We're sitting here with Coach Tinker. Coach, I got a question about this 7-on-7. Come here, Aiden. Because I got a 10-year-old that does not want to play football. Come here. Say what's up.
Does not want
Does
to play
not
football.
want to play football. Fast, everything, athletic. Don't want to play football.
Getting recruited for track, right?
But he want to play 7-on-7.
Oh.
And he told me, Dad, I want to play 7-on-7, and I'm going to kill it in 7-on-7. I said, but you got to be able to put the pads on
At some
play
point.
Football.
9 or 10. How old are you now?
10 years old.
I started my son playing at 9. So it's a love for the game that you don't have to just go all out starting off. So I started my son playing flag football. So you can go into flag football and eventually you have success, you transition to the pass. Because his friends gonna pull him in. That's who's gonna pull him in. So
Okay.
you don't. So one of the biggest problems about recruiting is parents want to live their dream through their kid. You can't do it.
Right.
So you gotta allow them. And Keg said this all the time about my son. The first time he played 7-on-7, he was out there because of what? Because I made him.
Right.
He was just a little a slot pot. All right. Well, now he wants it. He loves it now. So now it's a. I don't have to say nothing now.
You ready to, you know when his training's
Right.
supposed to be? Let's go.
Right.
Well, you get your Uncle Tink number. Cause he got $15,000 for his he got another 5. Alright? And then you play 7-on-7. Also said he got a big old house. He can stay at everything. Okay?
And a pool now.
You get your Uncle Tink number and you can call him anytime, okay? Alright.
And we'll talk about track later.
10 you, baby.
I want to get into something because T, I didn't work with you, but we were colleagues at one point. But now, once you got out of coaching, you started your own business.
No, yes. It
Yeah.
really before.
You started an
Where were y'all
organization.
colleagues?
Yeah.
He was at Kendrick, I was at Hardaway.
Okay.
Yep. So we were coaching colleagues.
Okay.
Yep. But you started your own organization,
Mm-hmm.
Minority Coaches. I think I need to re-enlist. I'm gonna take care of that as soon as the show is over. But just talk a little bit about that. Those business ventures that
Right. So we started Minority Coach in 2010. We actually started here in Columbus. We brought in a group. It was a group of about 6 of us. I know Coach Kegler. It was some of the top coaches across the state of Georgia at that time. From we had every minority coach that had won a football state championship in the history of Georgia high school, except one because he was deceased. Started a part of us from Dale McGee to Charles Flower to Franklin Stevens. I forgot what. Coach Eric Parker, Coach Starr. Everybody who had won state championship was here in attendance for that formation of the organization. And our big thing is that we are huge on helping minority coaches, minority parents, minority players just navigate the athletic process and again learn and grow to be able to help it benefit them for success just through athletic. It's been we've been rolling since again about 2010. We've done great things from camps to clinics to Coaches Academy where we help the next up and coming coach prepare them to become head coaches. We prepare ADs. One of the big things that we also do that we don't publicize it. We do mock college interviews. Yep. So I'm on every major search firm that you can see from Parker. I am on their board as a high school liaison. So we have big time AD from the Gene Smith to Ohio State to the Oregon AD. So we do mock interviews. Our very first year doing mock interviews, our first 5 participants was Marcus Freeman, who's now head coach at Notre Dame, Jimmy Smith, defensive line coach at LSU, Holman Wiggins, receiver coach at Alabama, Alex Atkins, who is the offense coordinator at Florida State, and Josh Gaddard, who was offensive coordinator at Miami, but now he's at Maryland right now. He's a co-OC at Maryland. So we've had guys that come through, and we've been doing that for 6 years. But society never sees that because we don't want them to see that. Mm-hmm. So this is behind the door things that we do, from that to basically being an in-house search firm. So when there are jobs that come open, my phone always rings from principals to ADs to board members looking for qualified candidates who may fit their job description. So we just try to do things to try to help coaches. And again, it's been a great organization that Coach Kegler is a part of. We got guys here. Coach Kegler is the vice president. Excuse me, he's the president. I apologize.
Wow.
I
apologize.
The president is under the executive.
Correct.
Director.
I apologize. Okay. And he's the president. I apologize.
That's the executive director.
All right. I think Coach Oldendown, who's also a Columbus native, is the vice president,
Correct.
right, Coach Kegler? So we have a strong organization. And again, it's not just for minorities. We have a large contingency of Indians in there, Hispanics, females. We have white coaches, because I always tell people, you look at the word minority, if you're a white coach and you coach at a predominantly black school, you're a minority.
Right.
You're a minority coach, okay? So we have a large number of just all people from different walks of life. And again, we want to help everybody who wants to be a part of it. We don't rival any other organization. We do what we do. We have benefits. We have benefits stuff, such as life insurance. You get $2,500 life insurance. You get $1 million liability insurance policy. We have hotel discount. We have car discounts across the country. We have organizations that partner with us to be able to do things. If your feet hurt and you like UFU shoes, everybody wearing UFU. Your basketball coach Don Staley is that big marketing person. Mm-hmm. We get for all the board members, they get free shoes. Everybody else gets a discount off of UFU. Zenith is one of our huge sponsors now that we do. So we got sponsors all across the country that who believe in our mission and our vision, and they support what we do, and in turn, we support them. But it is a huge venture that, again, we started here in Columbus, and it's just grown over the past 13 years.
It's big time. I know I joined, and I'll get with the president afterwards to make sure my paperwork's still good.
I'm on football side. It's not just football. Football.
There's a basketball clinic coming in September.
It
And I
is.
need a little cut.
It is.
But I remember participating that COVID year in the mock interviews,
Right.
and it was awesome. You know, I was happy just to be one of the interviewers, to be called and represent this great organization in that manner. And there were applicants from Virginia, North Carolina, and I mean, you want to hire someone as soon as these conversations were over.
Right.
These were just mock interviews to prepare that next coach, you know, for whatever
For the
their
actual
job they
interview,
wanted.
right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's great because it's professional development on both sides.
Mhm.
If you're the person being interviewed, but if you're also the person being interviewed, it helps you prepare for that next head coaching vacancy that you may have open at your school, because now you know what some things to look for based on being on there with other administrators from other schools and things they're asking that you may, wow, that's a great question. Let me put that in my catalog to come ask that question later on, because they're gonna go through and break that entire interview down and provide valuable feedback, not only for the candidate, but also for the people that are doing the interview as well.
Oh yeah, it was good.
This is the organization you were telling me about when we were at that conference.
Yep.
Okay.
I told you need to go and join.
Okay.
Get like I said, get the insurance policies. You get whatever you need. We can get some UFUs.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
They are pretty
Very
good.
cool.
I'm having more.
I've
I
tried
have some
them
on
all.
right now. Actually.
I need to update my membership. Oh,
Mine,
you got
mine in the car. I just took mine off. Come today.
Yours was free.
So, let's not talk about it. Hey,
I'm gonna bless you too, sir.
There it is. There it is.
NIL.
That's why that's my big brother, right there.
NIL is coming to Georgia. Me and you get discounts.
Okay, with that, I like this.
I may bless the whole organization right here. I'm
Oh.
gonna bless y'all.
That's
Appreciate
right.
it.
Alright.
So we're talking about professional development, and like you said, you know, you have a lot of irons in the fire. What advice would you give for someone in high school possibly trying to go to college?
I think the biggest thing is relationships. I think you gotta get out there and you gotta not just be a part of your state coaching organization. I think that you gotta go out there and you gotta take part in your national organization. For example, you're a football coach, AFCA. If you're a basketball coach, you gotta go to the Final Four. The Final Four is where the basketball
That's
coach
what
and
happened.
things is at.
You gotta go to the-
So I think
you gotta
that
go to the Final Four.
so I think that when you get a lot of times, coaches think that they can do it on their own without networking. For me, I always tell people that the best thing for me to ever happen in my life was leaving Columbus, Georgia. It changed everything for my life from a professional standpoint, as far as how I became seen in the state and across the country. Because being in Columbus, it's like you're in a foreign world. You got to get to Atlanta, because again, everybody in Atlanta, everybody comes into Atlanta. They may not go outside Atlanta, and from Atlanta gets you to the next city, to the next city, to the next city, to the next city. So again, it changed my life by leaving here on how I was seen from not just a state level, but from a national level. Because there are a lot of times I go places, people know me. I went to Jamaica this year. I'm flying back, and somebody say, "Hey, your man Coach Tinker." It's the same way I was in Punta Cana last year. I'm in Aruba. People know me because of what I do. So I think it's important that networking is the key to success. And if you're trying to go from the high school to the college level, because if nobody knows you, nobody's going to hire you, because people hire people who they know and who they feel comfortable. So I always tell people this right here: when you look at, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Because if nobody's gonna stand on the table for you and say, "Hey, this is a guy right here that I think that you need to hire," what college coach gonna hire you? You know, people, in this city right here, people say, "Oh, Dale McGee went from so and so and so." Dale McGee is not the norm. Dale McGee,
Is the outlier.
right? He is the abnormal. He's not a guy gonna go from being the head coach of Carl Columbus to being at University of Georgia to doing that. That's not the norm right there, because for all the Dale McGee's, I can go in there and name you another 20 who tried and who did not make it. So That's the biggest thing that you're trying to get. You gotta go out there, network, and you gotta promote yourself. People don't like talking about themselves. They don't like to do it. You gotta promote yourself. So we say promote kids. You gotta promote yourself. You gotta go brag on yourself on social media, because when people see those things, they start asking questions. I can think of so many guys now went from high school to college. They brag on themselves on social media. That's their brand. You are your brand. Sell your brand to the fullest. Keep your brand in everybody's mind at all times. That's what's gonna get you from A to B to eventually getting you to Z. And that's what I was able to do once I left Columbus, was able to sell my brand. And again, we all know this. There are some haters in Columbus. We know this. Where some haters will hate on you. You sell your brand here, but once you leave, nobody cares, because get what? Everybody in Atlanta is an entrepreneur. Everybody trying to sell their brand. And you look at Atlanta, Atlanta is like New York,
It's a
Chicago,
mecca.
Miami. It's the mecca of
It's the mecca.
of entrepreneurs. Okay, so that, to me, that's what you got to do.
I think that's how I use my social media.
And it's a quick funny story. So like Tink was talking about, we're at AFCA 2 years ago, and Tink is the speaker.
Now, what is AFCA?
I'm sorry, American Football Coaches Association. It's a big national convention we go to every year. Tink is the,
Are you an officer in that?
no sir, I'm not.
Okay.
But Tinker was the speaker. He did the welcome for the event. And Coach Larry Porter, who was at the University of North Carolina,
A Columbus guy,
yeah, who's from Columbus.
Columbus High School.
Yeah.
Have you all ever tried to, again, Larry was the head coach at Memphis.
So
Worked at Auburn.
I'm not
You're
from here.
but you're the assistant AD. You gotta know
This
this.
is my second year in the role, so I'm learning a lot.
Have you all even thought about retiring his number?
I will get with you when we get finished because clearly we need to talk.
Don't get around.
Yeah, you rattle up. You rattle up.
It's gonna light some other fires.
Hey,
Well, let me just
set
tell
her
you.
It's gonna start a whole other
Don't do
segment.
So we're at the conference. Tink speaks, and then Coach Porter comes up. He does his deal, and he said, "Well, the thing I always know about Coach Tinker is wherever he goes, it's always gonna be Big Red right there by him." I said, "Hold on, I'm a grown man.
Big Red.
I'm talking in front of
That's
all
gonna
Head of
be
security, right? Head of security. They head of my security team, right?
Hold on, man, you got shit right. Yeah. I feel like I was on the fire
Big
Hey,
red.
you promoting yourself.
Promote himself, Big Red.
I know, right? It's
That's
just
right. That's
Hey,
right.
I couldn't
Football
have
coach / security.
slash record.
I beat it.
You got any questions
And
about
the
my
crew.
books or your royalties?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we part of the crew. It's Kingdom Mills and the crew.
Oh no,
Right,
stop that,
right.
stop that. But I do agree with you on selling your brand. I know we ADs, the past year or two, we've all come together to learn how to promote our programs or to push it forward to that next level. Because like you said, you stay in Columbus, you get stagnant, you get complacent. But it's not a competition. We're all just trying to get better. And my principal, my former principal, Mr. Matt Bell, told me this a few years ago, and he was like, "Who's going to tell your story?" So that's where I just dived in to social media, because we were just talking about Hardaway High School. We said, "Who's going to tell our story better than us?" Because we don't want that one negative thing to ruin the community's outlook on Hardaway High. So we promote anything positive. We try to put something out there every day, and I try to do it myself on my personal page, and I do it with office hours and whatever it may be. So,
You just didn't promote the location we were at.
God.
Ain't that right, Coach McCoy?
the,
Look, you said a word.
and you know, I got here early, and we were asked to eat, and we said no, we're waiting on them to get here.
Right.
Right.
They're currently at
So as
Spencer.
He
we
got here early.
As we arrived
but didn't
at-
say where y'all at.
No.
as we arrived at Jordan Girls here on Veterans Parkway for our live broadcast, about 1:45, we were asked if we want to eat or we wait.
145. Where were we at 145?
So when you weren't there and I called concerned about your well-being,
That's when you found out.
We were reading the text messages, and
They
I just
ain't
thought
got
everyone was en
Dollar
route.
okay. But we don't.
We'll move on.
We got a great guest here. We're throwing out these nuggets, and
And
this
a lot
is
of
good.
it.
This is good stuff.
Coach, you got a lot of young coaches, like for myself, that got to work under you, under Coach Hicks, people that really work and really put everything they had in the coaching. Coach Kegg, as a young coach, got to coach under you and got to coach under Dale McGee. You was the AD at the time. But a lot of these coaches don't get that opportunity because it's not a whole lot of y'all around anymore. What advice do you give to a young coach that's trying to make it and just may not be with a hard-working head coach?
I think it goes back to kind of what I just hit on. You gotta get out. You gotta get out there, and you gotta go find the knowledge that you seek, and it may not be in your building. So you gotta make sure again that you're getting to clinics and just, you know, I tell everybody my record as a head football coach Kenya was 15-35. I tell people this. People think, man, he did a bad job. No, it was some tough things that I inherited that I was able to fix that, you know, didn't necessarily result in a win. There are coaches out there who have great knowledge who may not necessarily have the record to say, hey, they're great coaches, but they may have great things. So you got to go out there and you got to seek the knowledge from guys who have been in some situation that you may be currently in. Because you can't say that, hey, if I'm a guy that I'm at Jared, I'm gonna go talk to Buford. That's unrealistic right now. It's just not a case that you're gonna go do. So you got to go seek it out, get with people outside your comfort zone, and you got to better do a realistic self-evaluation. Say, what am I lacking in? And I think that's the biggest thing. Guys in this new way, they don't want to say I'm weak in this.
Yeah.
And go out there and talk to people who may be strong. That's one thing that I've done. Every year I do a self-evaluation of myself, not that teach that leak stuff. Mm-hmm. I evaluate what I need every year because I am constantly trying to improve. This is my 5th year as a building principal. Hopefully this is my last year. Right now I just got accepted to the Georgia Superintendent Association in the superintendent program. So I'm gonna be in a 2-year program. I'm on a superintendent track. Most people in Columbia like, hey, him? Yes, me. So
just wanna do something
right.
else.
So I'm on a completely different track that I'm still Coach Tinker, but I got a doctoral degree, and Lord, I hate school. But I went and got it just because I'm trying to get from A to Z. And most people don't understand. My plan is I got 3 years left. I'm going out in 3 years, but I've already got my DC license. I already got Chicago license. I'm not going to this superintendent school and necessarily stay in Georgia, because again, it goes back to when you change things and you move on, the knowledge that you may have and you take it somewhere else, it can explode things. So I think it's really important that guys seek knowledge from other places, and I'm constantly doing that. And it's not just athletic. It is for me now, educational stuff, personal things that I'm trying to constantly get better in, because I think it's the whole thing from your professional, personal, spiritual. If you have some type of business, like I said, thing you out earlier, look at, how can you improve everything? You gotta do that on a daily basis, because if not, you're gonna become stagnant and people are gonna pass you by. And I think that's the thing with young coaches have to understand, that you gotta seek the knowledge and you gotta try to educate yourself, because life is about educating yourself in the recruiting process. The recruiting process now is education. It's not what people can do for you. How are you gonna educate yourself so you can help yourself? Now, educate yourself, you're gonna stay stagnant.
So you said you were at Kendrick. How long were you there?
5 years.
Okay.
And I was with you, what, 4?
Probably so.
I think 4.
I can't remember. That's a long
Well,
time
you-
ago.
But I didn't
Were you
realize.
dismissed or you?
No, I was
Okay,
not.
you good.
I wasn't dismissed. I was not dismissed, and I didn't realize it was 15-35. Because I'll tell you something, and the reason I would have never said that is because how hard
You worked.
he worked.
You worked.
Like literally, we thought we were gonna win, and it was working every day. Like, you need to be over here doing this, And if you look at it, think back now, why? We were gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? But his drive was, we're gonna be better and better and better and better and better. And I just take that into my coaching, like, cause he wouldn't have it any other way. You know, it's like when I first got there, he called me, like, hey, did I make a mistake? You know, because I was losing and people were mad. But you know, as time got better, you know, he said, okay, I made the right decision. You made the right decision?
No, it's clear.
Oh, you're clear. You been
I actually
doing
was that time.
Oh,
But a lot of people don't understand that record is it's an illusion because people don't understand. We had one simple concept back then. We'll play you anywhere, anytime. Well, a lot of guys have won a lot of games in Columbus, but
They pick their games.
correct. I played Valdosta game 1,
Yeah.
Lowndes game 2.
Mm-hmm.
I played some of the best people. I did not back down. I didn't shout out anybody. And again, that goes back to my concept of I thrive off confrontation. I don't want the little guy, the little pansy. So some people say, well, he didn't win. Well, go look at the people who beat me. I didn't get beat by the Stuart Quick. I didn't get beat by the Terror. I got beat by some folks now. So again, it's a lot of allude. There's a lot of things on there. We were very competitive, but again, you know, I tell people this in today's society. Back then, was a lot of concept of AD head football coach. You got to choose. You can't be a top-notch AD and a top-notch head football coach. Or even with Kendall, you can't be a great AD and a great basketball coach. It don't work. You have to choose. I chose to be a great AD because I knew I wanted to be an administrator. So ultimately, in the end, I knew what I wanted to be was an administrator. So my last year coaching, I got certified to be an administrator, get my 6th year. I knew what I wanted to be. So I didn't sacrifice my kid, but I put more into being a great AD because again, I'm gonna call a spade. Who get paid the most money? Okay, so we're not gonna sugarcoat this because we go in there as coaches, we sacrifice everything from our family, our kids, and a lot of times, and then we put everything in other people's kids, and we don't get the return. And then just like y'all said, they talk about us. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. So in return, I want to be the guy up here that was the leader of the school because again, you get compensated for doing that, and then they still gonna talk about you, but at least you got to pay me.
Right.
I'm gonna call it spade.
What was that transition like for you from getting out of coaching to going into that full-time administrative role?
I think the biggest thing is you lose these type of things right here, camaraderie. The whole thing about leaving coaches, you miss working with coaches who you love and you respect. You miss being on the front line with kids. Even though you are as an administrator, but as an administrator, you're dealing with more adults. As a building level administrator, you're dealing with adults. You putting out fires for them. And y'all know that being head coach AD, a lot of times problems are created by adults, not the kids. The kids gonna do what the kids gonna do. You expect kids, but it's adults. So that's the biggest thing is that you're not on the front line anymore. You're in the forefront. You're just not dealing with some things. So after about a year or two, you get used to it, and you kind of like, I get it. I gotta roll this way right here. That's a big thing.
all right, anything else? Anybody got it?
I've enjoyed this show. And the hot dogs. I'll be back for a hot dog.
Oh yeah.
And maybe some chillings and some
Coach Tim, how was the hot dog?
And the hot dog was great. And I tell everybody in Columbia, Georgia, two things, Columbia, Georgia. Number one, make sure that you get down here to this fine establishment right here and come in here and partake in some of this food. Spend your money. Support this business and support the show. All you business out there who need to get your business to grow, come in here and buy ads.
Sell it.
From this show. I want y'all to come because they're doing great things to educate parents, support the community. Y'all need to do the same and make sure that you are spending dollars and promote your business because this gonna blow up. Do you want to be on the front end, on the back end? If you're on the back end, we're gonna tax you.
You better on the back end. So look, y'all, we're gonna sign out. We want to thank Natalie again for opening up her doors.
Yes, thank you.
Anytime.
Giving us a chance to taste her vegan hot dog for the first time for myself.
First time for me too.
Get a chance to taste vegan hot dogs and
Vegan
enjoy
banana
her
pudding.
establishment.
That's right.
Vegan banana pudding. We also want to thank Angel Robinson, not Hundley, but Angel Robinson for the dope cups.
Oh yeah.
Her name on the
13,
back?
13 Trends is her business.
And shirts.
And shirts and rugs and whatever you want personalized, she can definitely do it. Coach Tinker, he's about to be superintendent eventually, so we're gonna get his whole county when he becomes superintendent.
Get them all.
Don't even worry about it. You're gonna get the whole, every school he in charge of. Hey y'all, it was a great show. Enjoyed everybody today. This Coach Hundley.
Coach Mills.
Coach McCoy.
Coach King.
Coach Tink.
We out.
Sign
Peace.
out.
All right.
Awesome.